In 1978, over 900 people drank poison because one man told them to. They weren't weak. They weren't stupid. Many were educated. Many were parents, doctors, teachers, people exactly like you and me. And Jim Jones didn't hypnotize them. He didn't threaten them at gunpoint, not at first. He simply made them feel something no one else ever had. He made them feel chosen. Here's the question that should keep you up at night. If those 900 people couldn't see it happening to them, what makes you certain you would? The answer isn't about intelligence, it's about something much older than rational thought. And once you understand it, you'll never see a charismatic leader the same way again. Welcome to TheMindShadow. This channel exists for one reason: to show you the hidden architecture of human behavior, the systems running beneath the surface of every interaction, every decision, every moment of loyalty or betrayal. Today, we're going deep into one of the most powerful psychological phenomena ever documented: the pull of the charismatic leader. This isn't a warning about cults. This is a map of your own mind, because the same neurological wiring that led 900 people to their deaths is active inside every single person watching this right now. Understanding it doesn't make you immune, but it gives you something most people will never have: awareness. And awareness is the beginning of power. The first mechanism is called mirroring at scale, and it begins with something deceptively simple: the feeling of being seen. Charismatic leaders are masters of a specific skill. They make every individual in a room feel like the most important person in it. John F. Kennedy did this with eye contact alone. People who met him in crowds reported feeling as if he had looked directly at them and no one else. That sensation isn't accidental, it's engineered. Here's the psychology behind it. Human beings have a fundamental need to feel understood. It's not vanity, it's survival. For most of human history, belonging to a group meant the difference between life and death. Being seen by a leader meant you mattered. Being invisible meant you were expendable. That ancient wiring is still running. The charismatic leader exploits it by reflecting your own values and desires back at you, amplified. He doesn't tell you what to think. He tells you that what you already think is right, profound, important, worth fighting for. John F. Kennedy didn't inspire a generation by introducing new ideas. He took what Americans already believed about themselves, their potential, their courage, and he held it up like a mirror. And when people see themselves in a leader, they stop evaluating him critically, because criticizing him starts to feel like criticizing themselves. That's not admiration. That's psychological fusion, and it's only the beginning. The second mechanism goes deeper, much deeper, into the architecture of your brain itself. When you encounter a charismatic person, something measurable happens in your neurology. Your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for critical thinking and risk assessment, actually reduces its activity. Researchers at University College London confirmed this in studies involving charismatic authority figures. The more someone is perceived as authoritative and trustworthy, the less your analytical brain engages. You are not thinking less because you're lazy. You are thinking less because your brain is making an efficient decision. It's outsourcing judgment. This is called social cognitive offloading. Your mind constantly looks for shortcuts. Evaluating every situation independently costs enormous energy. So when someone presents themselves as competent, confident, and aligned with your values, your brain says, let them carry the weight. It's a feature, not a bug. But charismatic leaders know how to trigger it deliberately. They use vocal certainty. They eliminate hesitation from their speech. They make the complex feel simple. Because uncertainty is neurologically uncomfortable, and the charismatic leader offers the one thing your brain craves more than truth. Resolution. The moment you feel that relief, that sense of finally someone who gets it, dopamine releases. And dopamine doesn't just feel good, it encodes loyalty. The leader becomes associated with comfort itself. Disagreeing with him in your own nervous system starts to feel like a threat. Now let's talk about how this is actively weaponized. Because once you see the playbook, you'll recognize it everywhere. Charismatic leaders, whether in politics, business, or personal relationships, follow a remarkably consistent pattern. It has 3 phases. First, they create a shared enemy. The enemy doesn't need to be real. It needs to be felt. When you give people an external threat, tribal psychology activates. The group tightens. Dissent inside the group starts to feel like betrayal. The leader becomes the protector. Second, they manufacture scarcity, not of resources, of truth. They position themselves as the only reliable source of what's real. Everyone else is lying to you, distorting things, misunderstanding. Only here with us do you find clarity. Once that belief takes hold, outside information becomes automatically suspicious. The group becomes its own closed epistemic system. Third, and this is the most subtle, they create identity fusion. You no longer follow the leader. You become a follower as part of who you are. It's encoded in how you introduce yourself. The companies, movements, and relationships that pull people in deepest all trigger this same sequence. And here's what makes it genuinely dangerous. Each of these tactics feels positive while it's happening. The enemy creates purpose. The exclusive truth creates community. The identity creates belonging. You don't feel manipulated. You feel awake. That sensation of sudden clarity inside a charismatic leader's influence. That's not enlightenment. That's a closed loop tightening around your critical mind. Now here's the revelation. The thing that reframes everything you've heard today. Those 900 people in Jonestown didn't follow Jim Jones because he was extraordinary. They followed him because they were ordinary. And ordinary human beings are wired at the neurological level to seek a figure who resolves uncertainty, reflects their identity, and promises belonging. The disturbing truth isn't that charismatic leaders are monsters who prey on the weak. The disturbing truth is that the need they exploit is legitimate. The hunger for meaning, for community, for someone who understands. Those are real human needs. What charismatic leaders do is intercept those needs. They become the answer before you fully understood the question. So how do you protect yourself? Not by becoming cold, not by distrusting everyone. You protect yourself by learning to notice the sensation. That feeling of relief, of finally someone who gets it, that's not the destination, that's the alarm. Real clarity doesn't feel like sudden surrender. It feels like slow, uncomfortable expansion. Whenever someone makes certainty feel easy, that's not insight they're offering you, that's a leash. And the moment you feel it tighten, you need to ask, whose hand is holding the other end? The most dangerous influence is the kind that feels like freedom. Now you know what's actually happening beneath the surface. You know the neuroscience, you know the playbook, and you know what that feeling of effortless certainty actually signals. That knowledge is rare. Guard it. If this opens something in your thinking, leave a comment below. Tell me who came to mind while you were watching. Subscribe if you want to keep going deeper. new territory every week. The people who understand these systems don't just defend themselves, they move through the world differently. They read rooms others can't read. They recognize patterns others call instinct. That's where we're going. I'll see you in the shadows.